Belated birthday to you. So we're going to do a background of gold because this red and pink heart is going to be so pretty. So just any flat brush will work. We're just going to get, let me mute that. We're going to get this painted really quick. So you guys that are here live, or even if you watch the replay, let me know how your weather has been. Have you lost any electricity? All the things. We've had this winter storm and we've done okay. We have not lost electricity. So very, very grateful for that because a lot of people have, but it seems like we've all done a little better than the last one. So grateful for that. Now, using resin on your art will just kind of elevate it to the next level. I love doing it. I don't do it all the time, but it just really, really makes it pop, makes it pretty and special. So especially if you're giving a gift or maybe you sell your art, you know, and you haven't dabbled in resin yet, highly recommend checking it out and seeing if it might be for you because you really can elevate what you do and make it a lot more interesting. So it's just something fun to add to your toolbox and know how to do. I use art resin. There are 100 different brands on the market. Just do your research so that you know what you're putting into your lungs when you use it. I don't trust any other brand. And so, but you know, do your own research and see what you think and what you feel comfortable with. Read the documents, do some Google searches, you know, all the things because we need our lungs, right? I'll look at the comments in just a second as let's see if I can stretch and see. Okay. Hey, Brenda or Mickey, either one, would you mind sharing this into the VIP group or I don't know where you can share? I didn't even send out a message saying, hey, I'm going live. It's on the calendar, but we don't always look at the calendar for sure. So. Today the sun was bright and felt so good. It's still freezing, but you know, that sun really makes such a difference in my mood. I really was happy to see the sun today. Just bright and shiny. This is just, it could not get more simple on the background. We're just doing literally this gold background. And this is DecoArt Metallic Gold in Glorious Gold. But again, you know, you could do anything you want for this part. You don't even have to paint the heart. So I'm just going to kind of give us a shape. And then we will just put down our glass. And it is going to be so easy. Okay, let's take a look and see how the coverage is. I'm going to dry this and then I'll get to see if the coverage is good or if I need one more coat. So, been cutting glass today. I've got a whole box. Hi, Laveda, glad you made it. Thank you for doing that. Whenever you're going to use resin, you do need your paint to be 100% dry. So take the time to dry all your layers if you're using multiple layers of paint. And I'm going to go ahead and do one more coat. I'm just kind of putting it right onto the canvas because, like I said, this is super, super, super simple. Just a coat of gold is all you need if you're going to do something like this. Now, if you don't cut your own glass, think outside the box. And Levada, you can help me with ideas, but you probably have things you can use. Maybe you have buttons or beads or, like I said before, crushed glass that you just buy in a container. If you guys think of something else, let me know. So don't think, oh, well, I don't know how to cut glass. I do want to know if there's anyone watching who doesn't know how to cut glass themselves and wants me to show you. I do a lot of that in the VIP group that I have, the art membership, Art and Grace VIPs. And I don't know that I have ever done it on this channel just live. I probably have at some point, but I definitely haven't in a very long time. Every now and then I will. I honestly don't know that I have done it live. But I thought I might. In fact, I thought about doing it today live, but for one thing, it takes a little bit of time. I mean, it does. It takes time. And to show you the whole process start to finish, it's quite, detailed. So I didn't really want to do all that live. It would take a long time. So what I would do is break it up into a couple of videos where we do cutting one day and then we take the cutting and do our art the next day with it. Okay, great coverage now, so we're good to go. Let me dry that. Oh, you have, Jerry? I can't remember ever doing it live, but maybe, oh, thanks, Brenda. Maybe I was in an event or something. I don't know. Just get it good and dry without overheating. Okay. Also, let me know in the comments if you have used resin. And that's pretty dry. I can feel just a little bit where it's not quite, but we're going to go ahead and mix our resin, and then definitely by the time we're done, if it's not completely dry, I will dry it a little longer. So when you're using resin, always wear your gloves. And like I said, I use the Art Resin brand. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if I'm going to use, 1 ounce of hardener, I'm going to use 1 ounce of resin. And they have a website, artresin.com, and you can go there and plug in the calculator. They have a calculator page. So it'll say at the top, there's a tab, and it'll say, what size canvas or what size substrate are you using. And for this, it's a 6x6. So I use 1 ounce total of our, let's use a tiny cup actually. 1 ounce total. So instead of using that large one, I can use a small one if I'm careful. You just need room to mix, and I've done this for years, so I'll be okay. If you're new to resin, then I do recommend going ahead and using the larger cup. I mark my cups because, as you can see, the line is so clear. It's just clear, so it's easy to pour it to the wrong line if you're not careful, but we need 1/2 ounce of one and 1/2 ounce of the other. So let's do our resin. Doing 1/2 ounce. And take your time, because having the exact measurements will give you a better cure. If you've got too much of one, it won't turn out the same. So you definitely need it to be as accurate as possible. So I'll take my time. As I get close to that line, I really slow it down and kind of inch it up. Okay, and then we're going to stir this for 3 minutes. And I do have to be careful since I'm using this little tiny cup, but like I said, I've done it before. I just have to be careful. I'm setting a timer as I stir a little bit. 3 minutes. Start. So just slow and easy. You don't want to over mix. Now, even if I was in a large cup, I need to go slow and easy, because if not, I'll have a whole bunch of bubbles in here. And you will have bubbles, but that's what your little butane torch is for. You know, you can, some people use, if it's a very small piece, they might use like a lighter that's long or something. But it's good to go ahead and just get you a butane mini torch. They're only like $20, and it's just so much easier and safer to use. Just slow and easy, and every so often, no matter what kind of cup you're using, scrape off your stick and then scrape the sides of the cup and the bottom of the cup and get it all worked back in. These are the tips I'm telling you, are how you'll have the best outcome. So little things all added up make a huge difference. Let's see if I can read comments while I stir. Hi, Marcia. Oh, no. Oh, Afrin. Wow, I can't believe that that's what he needs. I guess they know, but... Oh, wow. That's really weird, and yes, I know that's kind of scary. Is he on blood thinners or anything? Scrape that stick, get it worked back down in there, and then scrape the sides and the bottom. This is as good, you know, the stirring that I'm doing is good. You don't need to whip it like it's cake batter. In fact, you don't want to do that, because that will add a ton of micro bubbles that you can't even see. So just slow and easy. We'll get it all mixed up. Okay, well, that's good. I'm sure they want him to follow up with his regular doctor or something tomorrow. Is that a drive for y'all, Marcia, where you had to take him? Art resin, the reason that I chose it, one of the reasons, is it has no VOCs, COVs, or BPAs. And that just means the chemicals that have a really long name that you don't want to breathe in. And resin, usually epoxy resin, is a two-part, you know, one resin and hardener. And as you mix it, some resins will create these toxins that you're breathing in. So it's why it's important to know what you're using, and don't accept anything other than the best, in my opinion, when it comes to your lungs. They're so important. I am going to just be sure this is good and dry. All right, can y'all see good? So I've already cut some glass. Let me show it to you. This is in no order. It's just pieces that I had some vases, and so I cut just random pieces in random shapes. I've got this fuchsia. I've got some red. and then a couple of purples. I didn't have many of that, but just a few purples. And we're going to make a heart on here, and it's going to be pretty. So I'm going to give a little bit of a base for this, so I'm just going to pour some. So maybe not even a fourth, well, maybe a fourth of an ounce or so. And let's see how that does. I might need a little more, but I'm going to just bring that to the sides. I like to have a base down and pop the bubbles, and then the rest I'll use in just a minute. So yeah, I am going to use maybe not quite half. Also, I am just somebody who, it's personal preference, but I prefer to keep it on top if I can and not have it go down the sides. That, again, is personal preference. Some people like to just pour the resin across and it'll come all down the sides. You just have to have this elevated. So like, they have things you can buy, or you could use, you know, 2 cups, 2 cans, whatever it is. They do need to be exactly the same height and level. Art resin is self-leveling, so it will level as long as your surface and your table is level. As long as your, you know, what you've got it hoisted on is level, and then your table. So you do need to have a level handy so you can be sure. But I prefer to just bring it to the edges and stop so that it doesn't go down the sides, but that does take practice. So if you're new to resin, just know that you're probably going to have lots of drips over the side, and as long as you know how to deal with it, that's fine. What I did in the beginning was I didn't tape the sides, but I taped the bottom of my canvas or whatever I was using. And then the next morning, don't touch the top, don't touch where there's resin, but just handle it carefully, and you can take that tape off, and the little resin drops are stuck to the tape and they'll pull off. And as long as you do it after, you know, maybe 12 hours, then you're good. After that, it gets a little harder to get the tape off, but you can still do it. Might just have to add some heat to it. So once I get it to the edges and I've got a nice layer, which I do, I'm going to just pop the bubbles with my little torch. And I'll show you, this is like what they use in the kitchen for creme brulee, although you need a dedicated one for your, oh, I see something cool, Brenda. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look in a second. You need a dedicated one for your art. So don't use this back and forth kitchen and your art, you know. But I'm going to put it on a lower setting, so between low and medium. If you have it on a really high setting, it's going to have a really long flame. And then I'll turn it on and then just hold it back a few inches. Keep it moving, and that pops all your bubbles. Okay. And we'll add more in just a minute when we've got our design down. But let's kind of look at our pieces. I just kind of look and see what I have. And we're going to just eyeball a heart. But you can definitely, you know, trace one out. So you just have to kind of use your imagination, since we didn't trace one out. But, you know, we're going to do a heart like that, something like that. So, you know, we all know what heart looks like. And I'm also kind of going to have random. So I'll have, you know, like I'm doing red, I'm going to put some purple. Right now I'm just trying to get kind of the shape of the heart down. Ooh, that might be a good one to put at the point, because that's a nice pointed piece. Let's put that down here, like that. I love having them layered. So see how they're kind of standing on top of each other? And I also love having different shapes. This one. And just, you know, make that kind of stand up. And that's part of when you cut it. When you cut it, you can cut it to where it will stand up for you. Oh, I think I'm going to use some of the small pieces and kind of fill this in down here. That would be smart. And it's just a matter of twisting, turning, seeing what you think to where you get it into a heart shape. I'll stand up here in a minute to see. Y'all can let me know. Let's see if I can look on my 8 miles. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. I love the little red hand. That's so cute. The little #1 sticker. Thank you. So sweet. And it's your birthday. Or was. Okay. It's a pretty good shape, huh? With just using these random pieces of glass. But I love piling it on, you know. Just makes it look so interesting. Maybe here. It's a purple one. I mean, you talk about easy. Now, I know that I have cut the glass, which, you know, if you don't know how, you would have to learn that. But look at we're already done. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a really unique piece of art. And we're just about done. Now, I am going to stand up and kind of get a good aerial view and see what needs to happen here. You can use a toothpick or anything to kind of move these how you want them. This is just a little silicone. Oh, I love it. What do y'all think? Does it look like a heart to you? And then we're going to take the rest of our resin and drizzle. I mean, you can pour, but I'm just going to kind of drizzle over the edges. We'll just start pouring. We have plenty of resin to work with here. We don't have to be sparing with it or anything. Now, if I use too much, it will go over the edges. You know, that's why you've got to have it elevated as it cures. So I've got a second desk beside me that I put my things on. It's protected. You can use plastic, a plastic trash bag, or a silicone sheet, you know, a little silicone desk protector, whatever you have or want to use to protect your work surface. And then I have a couple of cups over there, similar to these, but they're a little bigger. And I'll set it on these and just elevate it over that desk. And then I've got a plastic tub. So you know what I'm talking about, what you organize in. And I just have a nice clean one that I use just for this. But you can use a box even, as long as it's clean. And when you put it over it, it's not going to have dust or debris that's going to fall onto your art. And I will let it cure overnight. So like 12 hours will give you a very soft cure. And then 72 hours is completely done. I'm sorry, 24 hours is a soft cure. And then 72 hours is 100% done, as cured as it's ever going to be, or as hard as it's ever going to be. Now, after 12 hours, that's what I was thinking. I will usually take it outside and video it because I can't wait. I'm already ready to show you guys, but 24 hours would be considered the soft cure. These little cups you can throw away. You don't have to keep them, but if you want to, you can take a paper towel and clean them out and reuse them. I typically don't, but I do usually keep these little sticks. I love these sticks, and they're great for these smaller projects to have. So just clean it off with a paper towel like I'm doing, and then I always have alcohol. Where's my little, it's usually, oh, there it is, right here by me. I just put alcohol in one of these little containers, and I do use the 91%, and just clean that off, and then it is good as it was to begin with. And you can do that with your cups if you want to reuse those. Let's take a look. Oh, and then let's pop the bubbles one last time. So just no candles, and I wanted to move that alcohol away, but one more time we're going to just pop the bubbles. So go over the whole thing quickly. Keep it moving. Don't hold it in one spot too long. And I will babysit it, so that just means I'll look at this every 15 to 20 minutes and be sure like this little piece hasn't fallen down where it's not supposed to be, but it usually doesn't. Every now and then a bead, if I'm using beads, will kind of move somewhere, but I think this is going to stay just where we have it. And in 30 minutes, you created a beautiful piece of art that is unique. I mean, it's different. It's 3D, so I can't hold it up in that way now, but you'll just come to my Facebook page in the next day or two, and you can see it, you know, in different scenarios from the side and all of that. And it's just so much prettier than just a painted heart, and kind of special. So if you want to know how to cut the glass, let me know, and I can show you guys. I don't know how many watch that want to know that, so let me know in the comments. I don't see any other comments. I don't think that I haven't seen. But that's it. Super fast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope that your weather is getting better and you have heat and food and all the things that you need. I'm ready for spring. But we got to have winter to get there. Thank you guys. Well, I'm so glad y'all were here. I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful night. If you're in the VIP group, I will see you guys tomorrow live. And otherwise, I'll see you guys next Monday. Thank y'all for being here. Bye-bye.